Anthony Stolarz, the 6'6" netminder born in New Jersey, was the fourth goalie selected way back in the 2012 NHL entry draft by the Philadelphia Flyers. And although he's now in his 11th season of pro hockey, he's never played more than 30 games in a single NHL season. But even though the 31-year-old has battled all throughout his career, spending lots of time in the American Hockey League and as a backup goalie in the NHL, he's now found himself in one of the biggest hockey markets on earth, playing a huge role for the Toronto Maple Leafs, a team that has a big-time chance to contend for a Stanley Cup this season. Here's the story of how Anthony Stolarz went from an overlooked goalie prospect to one of the best backups in the league, and is now the top goalie on a Maple Leafs team that has Stanley Cup aspirations. Prior to getting drafted, Stolarz spent a season in the North American Hockey League with the Corpus Christi Ice Rays, playing 50 games for the team and putting together a strong .920 save percentage. After that, he'd start the next season with the University of Nebraska Omaha's Division I program, but after just 8 games, he decided to go in a different direction and jumped onto the London Knights of the Ontario Hockey League. He'd played 2 seasons with the Knights, posting great numbers both years, and even being a part of a Memorial Cup winning team in 2013. Stoley would turn pro the next season, and still at just 21 years old, he'd go straight to the Lehigh Valley Phantoms of the American Hockey League, which is where he'd stay for the next 3 seasons. Over 107 games, he'd post a respectable .911 save percentage over those 3 years, and even made his NHL debut for the Flyers in the 2016-17 season. That year in the NHL, he'd play in 7 games, putting up a 2-1-1 record and .928 save percentage. Unfortunately, the Flyers didn't think Stolarz did enough to earn an NHL job, and he was back in the minors the following season. But due to a major knee injury, Stolarz missed almost the entire 2017-18 season and played just 4 combined games in the AHL and ECHL that year. The next year, Stolarz played 12 games in the NHL for the Flyers, but now at 25 years old and with Carter Hart looking like the goalie of the future for Philly, Stolarz was dealt to the Edmonton Oilers in exchange for the veteran netminder Cam Talbot. His time in Edmonton was very short-lived, as he would play in just 6 games for the team. In the offseason, the Anaheim Ducks would sign Stolarz to a 2-year, $1.5 million contract. He spent almost the entire season with the San Diego Gulls of the AHL, and finally being healthy again, had a really strong year with the team, going 21-12-6 with a .922 save percentage, and was an AHL All-Star. In the shortened 2020-21 season, Stoley would play just 11 combined NHL and AHL games, but the next season, now at 28 years old, he was finally the full-time backup for the Anaheim Ducks, behind John Gibson. He posted a 12-8-3 record with a team-leading .917 save percentage, and finally proved that he belonged at the NHL level. The next year, Anaheim was one of the very worst teams in the league, with a team record of 23-47-12, and in 19 games, Stolarz went 5-6 with an .899 save percentage. After that season, the 6'6" netminder would hit free agency yet again, and this time found a huge opportunity to back up Sergei Bobrovsky and the Florida Panthers, who just came off a trip to the Stanley Cup Final. Stolarz signed a 1-year, $1.1 million contract, and on one of the top teams in hockey became one of the league's best backups. He went 16-7-2 with a sparkling .203 goals against and .925 save percentage, and despite playing in just 27 games, he led the league in both save percentage and goals against average. Stoley played in just 1 playoff game, coming in for Bobrovsky in a Game 4 rout that the Oilers won 8-1, but he played a big role for the Panthers all season long, and got the chance to lift the Stanley Cup for Florida and learn from one of the great goalies of his generation, Sergei Bobrovsky. In the offseason, Stolarz would sign a 2-year, $5 million deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs to be one half of a goalie tandem along with 26-year-old Joseph Woll. And although Stolarz again missed some significant time due to injury this year, he's picked up right where he left off last year, so far going 13-5-3 with an incredible .926 save percentage with the Leafs. Although it's still a small sample size, his numbers are up there with the very best in the game right now. And with how he's played since getting back from injury, there's no reason not to believe this won't continue throughout the season and into the playoffs. The one question mark with Anthony Stolarz is that he has very little playoff experience, but he still has a lot left in the tank given that he's been a backup most of the last few seasons and has battled through lots of injuries throughout his career. I feel like this is his moment to prove that he truly can be an elite goaltender in this league, even on some of the biggest and highest pressure stages in all of the sport. Anthony Stolar's story is one of perseverance, hard work, and never giving up, despite having terrible luck with injuries and never really getting a fair shot on previous teams. Will Stolarz be able to handle the pressure of playoff hockey in Toronto? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.